Here is my MacBook Pro early 2008. As you guys know, I've owned this for about a year now, probably just under a year. And I did an unboxing video, and I've done various videos about this machine, all of which are still available on my channel. You can check them out. But unfortunately, I'm having a spot of bother with this computer. Now, I really like this machine. There are a lot of things I like about it. I love, for starters, the size of the screen. Now, I have owned a 13-inch white MacBook, a 15-inch PowerBook G4, and a 17-inch MacBook Pro. And I can say that this, out of all of them, is my favourite size computer. The PowerBook was thicker, even though it was the same screen size. It was a thicker case design, and also it was a slightly more square computer. This one is slightly more widescreen, and I much prefer it. This is definitely my favourite form factor that I've carried around so far. The MacBook was a little too small on the display side of things, even though considering a 13-inch display is something I may have to do in the future. The 17-inch, I carried it around every single day in college for 2 years, but it is a very big machine, and if you absolutely must have that screen size, then it's great. But if not, the 15 is much better, and I have loved everything about this computer. Now, this is a pre-unibody MacBook Pro, and it is now classed as vintage by Apple. So that doesn't really mean anything to the end user. This will still run Yosemite when it comes out. It runs Mavericks beautifully, and the whole vintage status doesn't really bother me. Now, if we open it up, and I'm going to stick with this angle, you guys will see one of my favourite features about this computer, and that is this keyboard right here. I believe this and the PowerBook G4 keyboard is the best keyboard that's ever shipped in an Apple portable. And I've used pretty much all of them. The only ones I haven't used, well, actually, my friend recently got a 13-inch unibody MacBook Pro, and I've typed on it. I've typed on the 15-inch unibody. The only Apple portable that I haven't typed on is the 11-inch MacBook Air. And, well, I know that they're all pretty much the same keyboard, and this keyboard beats them hands down. If you guys haven't typed on an original MacBook Pro design keyboard or a PowerBook G4 keyboard, then I strongly urge you do so. But unless you want to get disappointment next time you type on a different laptop, then you should probably avoid it. So, why am I making this video? Well, this was the last MacBook Pro released with this case design. So this is the newest machine you can get pre-unibody. If you guys haven't seen one of these before, because unibody's been around for a long time now, some of the major design differences are, of course, it's not a unibody design. It's made out of separate little bits of aluminium. It doesn't mean it's not a nice design. In fact, for many a year I preferred this design, and I still do prefer characteristics of it. I prefer having the optical drive in the front. This is absolutely fantastic. Of course, optical drives aren't even a thing anymore, really, but I like having that in the front. There's no magnetic latch, it uses a button, and everything is slightly more bulky. This is the infrared receiver. As you can see, it's just a blob. It's a circle on the front of the computer, whereas on the new ones, it's a nice, sleek infrared sensor, which I believe is here somewhere. The ports are amazing on this machine. You've got everything you'd ever need. On this side, you've got your MagSafe USB, your 2 audio jacks, and PCI slot, or PCIe Express, whatever they call it. And then here you've got your DVI, Ethernet, both revisions of FireWire 800 and 400, and another USB and your Kensington lock. So, as you can see, it's a really nice system. In case you're unfamiliar with where Apple stood in 2008, yes, things like the iSight camera did exist. And I believe these models are actually LED backlit. Now, I have to check that, but I believe they are. So as you can see, iSight camera right there, and this display is gorgeous. So this is a 15.4-inch display. Really, really nice. Coming down, you have a larger trackpad than on the PowerBook G4. Not quite as big as the new glass ones, but still a very generous trackpad size, and it does support certain gestures, certain basic gestures. After checking on Mac Tracker, this is indeed an LED backlit display. I thought it was because it's pretty much instant on. It's a really, really nice display, and there's nothing that I don't like about this machine apart from one aspect, and that is the graphics. Now, the graphics aren't bad. In fact, this system performs graphically extremely well. It's got the 8600M GT with 256 megs of video memory by NVIDIA. Now, this is the 2.4 GHz model. If you had a 2.5 or a 2.6 GHz model, that would step all the way up to 512 megs of graphics memory, which for the time was pretty beast. 2008, having a laptop this thin with half a gig of graphics RAM on such a nice graphics chip was really cool. But it came at a price. And that is, after a couple of years, they all started dying. When I say dying, yep, I just mean the graphics die and you are left with a non-functioning machine. Now, let's just forget about the graphics for a second. We'll talk about them in much greater detail in the next part of the video. Now, as you guys know, I've recently replaced my battery. I've put in a third-party battery. Now, a few of you pointed out in that video that this new battery was indeed bulging and I should get my money back. Yes, I've been in contact with the company, but I haven't replied to them yet. They've been very nice. I haven't yet replied to them because I've been having extra troubles with my MacBook Pro. But as you can see, in comparison to the unboxing video, this battery has indeed gained another increase in bulging, which is not cool. It's quite hard to see, but you can slightly see it there. And of course, there's scratches on it. It's the lowest point contact of the machine. So if you push the machine along a surface, like so, the battery scrapes against the surface, which is not good. It's not quite at rocking stages yet, but it soon will be. So unfortunately, I have a MacBook Pro with a dodgy battery, and the bulging must be a bad sign, because if it gets down to 35% charge, then it cuts off. Now, this has been fairly disastrous for my MacBook Pro for a couple of different reasons. Firstly, if your computer cuts off halfway through you're doing something, it's obviously extremely annoying. It's not reliable at all. So I can't rely on this if it gets anywhere under 50% battery. And because this is a cheapo third-party battery in an old laptop, that means I only get about an hour's use out of it on battery. You'll get 2 to 3 hours, 3 hours maximum out of these kind of crappy 17, 18 pound batteries in a computer like this. Now, another annoying factor about this is every time it cuts out, every time the battery just decides, you know what, nah, I'm not going to provide power anymore, my hard drive makes the most horrendous clicking noise when it dismounts because it hasn't been shut down properly. So the disk just goes, and that's the end. So next time you turn it on, your hard drive is that little bit less healthy. Now, the hard drive in this, I believe, is the original drive, and it really is not going to last very long. It is pretty much, from what I can tell, a tortured drive, and I'll prove that to you guys in a second when I come to boot this thing up. Now, that's pretty much it for all the issues that I'm having with the machine, apart from why are the batteries bulging? Well, I've been searching around a little bit of info. This could be a faulty battery from the get-go, and I think it is. It's a cheap battery, and it was pretty much bulging when I got it out of the box. However, I don't think the power is stable on this computer either. The MagSafe can't decide whether it's charging or not. It's going orange, green all over the place, and it doesn't relate at all to what the system is saying in the actual operating system as far as charging and stuff goes. Same thing with the battery indication LED on the battery itself. This could show 100%, and it just won't turn on. I have to charge it for ages until it'll turn on. It's just a power disaster, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's my MagSafe power adapter. A few people have said it probably might be my MagSafe. It could be the power distribution board in the computer itself, or it could be just bad luck with another battery. Now, one thing that I love doing with my laptops is leaving them on 24/7. I love leaving them on in sleep and opening them up and just having everything right there. Doing that with this, impossible. Absolutely impossible. With the umbrella of problems that I'm facing with this, unfortunately, doing that is just a recipe for disaster. You put this thing in sleep, you leave it alone for half an hour, 45 minutes, and the damn thing won't wake up. You have to take the battery out. So there definitely is power issues. And yes, I've reset the PRAM and the SMC and everything like that. If you reset the system management controller, in theory, that should rectify all of your power issues unless you have a hardware fault. So of course, I am pretty suspectful that this has various power related issues. It may just be the battery, it may just be my charger, it may be the battery and the charger, but there could be a problem with the computer as well. Now, what a lot of people don't realise is they think a battery and a charger isn't a big deal. Okay, yeah, your battery and a charger is broken. There's something wrong with both of them. You know, that's better than changing a part in the computer, right? Well, wrong. If my hard drive breaks, I've got loads of hard drives lying around that I could throw into this system. I just open it up one day, I make a really cool YouTube video, I throw in a new hard drive, boom, job done. But a MagSafe power adapter, a decent one, is extremely expensive, and so is a decent battery. If you get the third-party stuff, it doesn't last 2 minutes, and I've experienced this with my PowerBook G4. So, what am I getting at here? Well, I'm stuck in a little bit of a MacBook Pro rut. I love this system, I love my stickers, I love everything about it, apart from the problems that I'm having. This is a great, great system, but I'm not sure how long it's going to be with me as my main portable. So let's get on to the main topic of this video, and that is the 8600M GT graphics chip from NVIDIA and what goes on with it. Apple soon realised that people were having a lot of problems with this particular graphics processor, so they created an extended repair program that lasted all the way until December 2012, which is a long time to continue an extended program for these machines. Now, of course, 2012 was 2 years ago, so I don't qualify for that kind of thing. A lot of people are going to ask me the question, why did you buy a model if you knew that it had graphics issues or any kind of issues? It's like someone going out and buying an iMac G5. It's just not done because they're not reliable computers. Well, unfortunately, I get this sort of false hope when it comes to buying Macs, and I put a massive trust in them. I put a huge amount of trust in them, and then when they let me down, I get really severely disappointed. Now, this MacBook Pro hasn't fully died, and yes, I will show you what happens, but I don't know. I just love this model, and I wanted to get the best. I love the look of this model, I love the design, and I just wanted to get the newest one that I could. And the 8600 is a nice chip. It just runs so damn hot that it's bound to cause problems in such a thin computer for its time. Now, every day is a mystery with this system at the moment, but as you guys saw, when I pressed the button on the battery, we had a lot of battery in it. So we haven't got the charger plugged in. Let's just go for a cold boot. I haven't turned this on since yesterday. It's probably been about 18 to 20 hours. So let's fire it up. Now, as you can see, we first get a bit of display problems, and this has been common since I've owned the machine. It's nothing to do with the graphics, I don't think. I think it's actually to do with the LCD cable, because when you squeeze the side of the screen, it can affect the issue. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. Now, as you can see, we have a white screen here, and this white screen, no matter what, lasts for an extremely long time. I think it's because the system has kernel panicked so many times and been shut down so many times. It's just quite messed up at the moment. The hard drive's messed up, the install is messed up, and the Apple logo finally pings up. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit slow, but this is still a conventional hard drive, and like I say, it's been through the wars. So we're literally going to sit here and wait for it to boot up so you guys get an idea of how long it takes to boot up. And if it's really slow, then I'll put the time in the video. Okay, so here we are, booted up into macOS 10. Now, that took ages, so I'll put the time in the video itself. But here we are, and here's the computer running, and everything looks normal, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, it's a really nice system when it runs. If we just quit Google Chrome for a second, I'm on the ItsMyNaturalColour page there. There we go. So, here we have the system, all up and running. Now, I have screenshotted various crashes and crash reports just to see what the deal was. Now, as you guys can see, a little bit sluggish on loading stuff, but programs are opening in the background, so we'll leave them be. We've had a couple of crashes and stuff that I have that I have screenshotted, as you guys can see, but it doesn't really make a difference. Now, here we have the system, all booted up. Now, one of the first things I do when I get my MacBook Pro booted up is launch SMC fan control, which should in theory launch itself. Now, the fans ramp up like hell. Now, if I'm doing something, I tend to keep the fans pretty damn high. But if not, I tend to keep them around 4,000 RPM, because that's a nice balance between performance and quietness. So they'll ramp down a little bit, and I can't really notice them. Actually, yeah, I can notice them, but you know, it is how it is. So here we have the system. Now, as you can see, everything's looking normal. Everything's looking great. But one little thing that I forgot to mention is check out my trackpad. When the battery expanded, my trackpad actually bulged out. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but the trackpad is not flat. It's not flat at all, which is quite funny, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the functionality of the trackpad at all. Now then, here we have my computer, all booted up, and best thing to do is just wait until it does something weird. So here we face a common issue that I have with this machine that just occurred while I was sitting here, really, and that is the, how could you describe it? Just sort of 3/4 of the bottom half of the display goes weird. Now, as you can see, that's not a graphics problem, that's a physical issue with the display of the computer. Now, it sort of freezes in time, and then as you can see at the top here, my screensaver has started, because there's been no activity on the system for a while, but if I press a key, you can see the top part of the display is still active. Now, I've had this problem since day one. Excuse me. And sometimes it gets better, sometimes it gets worse, but you know, all of the time it's there. So sometimes when you touch the edges of the display, there you go, you can make it disappear. You can get it right. So you can see that's dodgy, okay? That is in fact dodgy. And you've just got to keep tapping it in the right place until, there you go, until it behaves itself. But now we have a slight flicker on the LCD, and that happens often as well. But this isn't my main concern. It's been like this since I had it, and I could live with that. That's fine. And you know, you can easily replace that. It's not expensive, but it's the graphics stuff that I'm more concerned about. The actual graphics, the GPU related stuff. So I'm gonna leave the machine here. If I leave it idle, then it probably won't mess up. I'll have to be doing something, so I'm going to start using this machine a little bit. So I've just watched LGR's latest video in HD, just to try and heat this thing up a little bit. And, you know, it's a little bit like going to the doctor and then, you know, your symptoms clear up while you're sitting in the waiting room. This is a very unreliable problem. You know, it's very, you know, I can't tell what the hell is going on, because yes, the machine is heating up like hell now, but the graphics seem fine. And the system isn't laggy at all. I'm not having any problems. Now, I'm still on battery power, and I'm on 46%. So we're reaching that sort of I don't trust my battery level. And that'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, it's... I will definitely post this video, even if nothing happens, even if nothing disastrous happens to this MacBook Pro. But what I will do is post some photos that I took. I was in work the other day, and I took some photos of what happened to the display when I thought that the graphics actually died for good in this. I was really shocked to see that the thing powered back on. But like I say, reliability is a really important thing for a computer, and if you can't rely on it, then it's no good. So basically what's going to happen now is, it's 7:10. I'll be leaving for work tonight at about 6:30, so in about an hour and 20 minutes. I'll continue doing a few little bits and bobs on this, and I'll take it to work, and I'll just use it for the rest of the day, and I'll see what happens. And what I'll do is I'll keep you updated. I'll of course have my phone on me anyway, so I'll keep filming little segments of the video even in work, and then I'll edit it and upload it when I get back tonight, so that you guys will see it for Tuesday. Expect a follow-up to this video if this thing behaves itself, but I've got a little feeling that it won't, just because I've been having so many problems with it. Of course, I don't want it to go wrong, because I don't want to buy another MacBook Pro and I don't want to get this one fixed. But I would, if this really is unwell, I would like you guys to see it live on video, because that would be great. So I'll be back when I have a significant update. Okay, so we dropped down to 25% with 37 minutes remaining. Interesting, interesting. And there you go. You guys saw that firsthand on camera. You saw that firsthand. I'm so glad I captured that. That's great. Okay, so as you saw, I hope my head wasn't blocking the frame. Really hope it wasn't. Okay, anyway, as you saw, I had 25%. I was just browsing around, you know. I just paired my mouse and stuff, and I was just about to type something into the YouTube search box and click. Nothing. No warning, nothing. Just off. Okay, so that's probably a battery problem, but you heard the hard drive as well. Now let's power the machine back on. Ah, of course. The machine doesn't power back on unless I connect the power adapter, so give me a second. So the computer is now plugged in and charging, but we can't turn it on. We've got absolutely nothing. So we've just got to leave it charge up a little bit and wait. So this MacBook is going slightly berserk. It's just seems to be booting up with its lid shut. Interestingly enough, but it is booting up. So that's cool.